Welcome back to Literacy with Mr. F. Today we're going to be starting off our lesson with a little bit of work on similes. Now I know we've looked at similes before, but you need to recap. What is a simile? What can similes be used to do? Well, similes are used for description and they're used in a way that you compare something to something else. So I could compare it to something that is similar but not exactly the same. How do I create one? Well, if you want to create a good simile, you have to start off with a good descriptive sentence. So I could start off with a sentence like, the tower was tall. Now, if I think about a tower being tall, I need to think of something else that's also tall to help me compare it to that. So I could come up with a simile like this. The tower was as tall as a mountain. So it's comparing how tall the tower is to a mountain, which is also very tall. Do you notice I've used the word as to compare one thing to another? Another way I could compare it is by using the word like. So I could say the tower was tall like a mountain. So again, I've compared the tower to a mountain. I want you to have a go now. So I've given you a sentence saying the sparkling water was blue. Now I need you to think about something that's also blue, that's always blue, not sometimes blue, that could be compared to that sparkling water. I want you to see if you can use the word as or like to compare it to something else, and that will make a simile. Pause the video now so you can have a chance to do that. Now that you've created your own one, I wonder whether you could create your own completely random simile to do with an imaginary Mexican setting. Maybe you could think about one of the settings we looked at on Monday or Tuesday, and you can think about describing something and then using as or like to compare it to something else. Pause the video again and have a go at doing that now. Okay, hopefully you've had a good chance to make some similes, and maybe you could share some of those with me later on today on your DB Primary blog. Now for the main activity today, we're going to see if we can use our editing skills to edit and improve sentences. To be successful in today's lesson, we're going to see if we can read a setting description. So I'm going to show you some settings, and we're going to see if we can read those using our phonics and maybe using other strategies. We're going to see if we can fix punctuation errors in a text where we maybe haven't used capital letters and full stops. Maybe we should use a question mark or an exclamation mark, commas, that sort of thing. We're going to see if we can fix grammatical errors in a text. And we're also going to see if we can up-level sentences to make them more exciting and interesting for the reader. So, to start off, I've got a sentence here which has got a few mistakes in it. And I need you to see if you can find those mistakes. I'll read it to you, and then you can have a chance to look. Maybe you need to pause it once I've read it, so you can see if you can spot those mistakes. Below the bright shining sun, the trees are waving gently in the wind. Now I know there's a full stop at the end of the sentence. Should it be a full stop or should it be something else? Have a think. Is there any punctuation that's missing? Is there a word that's obviously spelt wrong in that sentence? Pause the video now and see if you can spot that. Okay. We'll have a go at fixing this one together. At the beginning of every sentence, you know this, there should be a, that's right, capital letter. So we're going to correct that and change it to a capital B. You'll also notice as well that as soon as I clicked on it, it's underlined that word bright, which means I've spelt bright wrong. Have a think about what I sound should be in the word bright. Sometimes words do have that I split E to make the I sound, but not in the word bright. In the word bright, we should be spelling it B-R-I-T. Using our set 2 I sound, the word is bright. Below the bright shining sun, the trees are waving gently in the wind. Now that's okay, but did you notice that when I was reading it, I paused at one point in my sentence? If you pause in a sentence, that means you need to separate the clauses. So I'm going to put a comma where I pause. Below the bright shining sun, the trees are waving gently in the wind. Notice how I paused after the word sun. So I add my comma in there. And now we fix that sentence together. Well done if you got those 3 things right. If you spotted something else, maybe let me know. But I think that sentence now makes perfect sense. Let's look at the second one together. The leaves are rustling quietly and they smell fresh and clean. The sentence sounds like it makes sense. I wonder what could be wrong with this. Ah, I know. I shouldn't start my sentence with the word and, should I? And is a conjunction which joins two ideas together, so it's a coordinating conjunction. And if I'm starting a sentence with and, I'm not joining anything. So I don't think that full stop needs to be there. And if that full stop doesn't need to be there, then that capital letter doesn't need to be there either. Let's change that now. The leaves are rustling quietly and they smell fresh and clean. Now that makes sense. I could have done something different though. Instead of using the word and, I could have had my full stop there and I could have started it with a different opener. If I'm giving additional extra information, I could use the opener in addition. In addition, comma, because I'm pausing, they smell fresh and clean. So now I've added extra information, additional information. I've used that opener to make it just that bit more exciting for the reader. Let's look at the third one together. The trees is surrounded by yellow sand and sharp rocks. What else can you see? Now I think there's a few mistakes in this one. Let me count how many mistakes I've found. I think I can find 5 mistakes. Pause the video now and see if you can find those 5 mistakes as well. Have you found 5? Let's see if we can fix them together. Now every sentence, as we know, starts with a capital letter. So the very first letter should be a capital T. It says the trees is surrounded by yellow sand. Does that sound right? The trees is surrounded. I think if I was talking about one tree, the tree is surrounded, that would make sense. But if there's more than one tree, instead of using the word is, I should use the word are. Trees is a plural word, which means there's more than one of them, so I need to use are instead of is. Let's fix that now. The trees are surrounded by yellow sand and sharp rocks. What else can you see? I think that's a second sentence there. After rocks, I need to put a full stop. Then, because I'm starting a new sentence, I need to make that a capital W. And at the end of my sentence, I need to put a full stop. What else can you see? Or do I? What type of sentence is this? What else can you see? I don't think it's a regular sentence. I think that's a question. So it needs a question mark. Did you spot those 5 mistakes that I spotted? If you did, really well done. Today, I'm going to get you to do some editing. On your blog on DB Primary, I've put some rubbish sentences. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to copy and paste those sentences so you don't need to type them all out again and post them for other children to see. But before you post them, you need to up-level them. You might need to correct some common spellings. You might need to add in some punctuation where it's missing. Or maybe you could choose some vocabulary that's more exciting and add that in. In addition, you could use conjunctions to add extra information just to make it more interesting for the reader. What I'd like to do now is pause this video, go to DB Primary, find that blog, and I'd like you to see if you can up-level those sentences. When you've finished, come back to this video and we'll do the final part of the lesson. Okay, I hope that you found that quite an easy task, and I'm looking forward to reading some of those really interesting sentences that you've written. For the last task, I wonder if you can fix this punctuation. My sentence says, the trees are green, tall and smell fresh. What punctuation is missing there? I think I can see 1, 2, 3 bits of missing punctuation. Pause and see if you can find them. Okay, we'll fix it together. As usual, we start our sentence with a capital letter. As usual, we have to finish our sentence with something, and this is just a normal information sentence. So I finish it with a full stop. And finally, I've written a list of 3 things that the trees do. They're green, they're tall, and they smell fresh. So because it's a list sentence, I need to put in a comma, and I put it between the first 2 adjectives. green and tall. The trees are green, tall and smell fresh. Last one now. Would you want to visit this beautiful place? Think about what type of sentence that is. I think that there are 2 bits of punctuation missing in this sentence. Have you found them? The first one, as always, every sentence starts with a capital letter. So we have a capital W for the first word in the sentence. Would you want to visit this beautiful place? Should it be a full stop? Of course not. It's asking a question, so we need to remember our question marks. If you've already posted to DB Primary and you forgot to check your work, maybe you could go back and check it now. Click on the Edit button if you want to change anything that you've written. I'm looking forward to reading some of your super sentences. Have a fantastic day and remember to stay safe.